Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Brigadier General Eric Riley, Assistant Adjutant General, welcome to the retirement ceremony of Chaplain Joshua Van Vlack. I'm Major Tim Aldahl, your MC for today's ceremony. The official party consists of Brigadier General Eric Riley and Chaplain Joshua Van Vlack. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the honors, the national anthem, and the invocation by Chaplain Rick Barnes.
Would you join me in the invocation? Almighty God, thank you for this day, the day to come together and celebrate the calling you placed upon Chaplain Van Vlack's life. Thank you for the career of service and ministry to soldiers and families and your guidance to him along the way. Father, thank you for Karen and for Josh's family, for their support to him throughout his Army career and throughout his life. Without the support of our families and you, none of this is possible. Lord, I ask that we may feel your presence here with us today, that you guide the words to be spoken, and that all that we do would bring glory and honor to you. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Barnes. Please be seated. I'd like to recognize some special guests with us today. Colonel Jason Lambert, Corps Training Commander. Colonel Russell Gibson, Commander A2 TSD. Colonel Retired Kevin Dial. Command Sergeant Major Alexander Patchlet. Command Sergeant Major James Linsett, and Sergeant Major Cecil Owens, retired. I'd like to extend a special welcome to Chaplain Van Vlack's family and friends, including his father, First Sergeant Retired Ronald Van Vlack. We are pleased that you could attend today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce today's host, Brigadier General Eric Riley.
All right, well, good afternoon, and thank you all for coming today to celebrate this momentous occasion. To all of our distinguished guests that are here today, thank you for being here, and especially to the family and friends. To celebrate a great career of Joshua's great career. So I use the word celebrate. You know, this, to me, a retirement ceremony on good terms, which this definitely is a day to celebrate, certainly. And today we get an opportunity to celebrate the long and successful career that spanned over 2 centuries, right? No, centuries. Yeah. You're not bad. And it's been a career that's been full of excitement, commitment, and courage on Joshua's part. Chaplain, you've had a great career and one that's taken you to many interesting places, overseas, around the state of Oregon, and just in general, it's been an interesting career. Just looking at your bio and stuff and talking with you over the years, you've had an opportunity to work for a variety of units, from aviation. I won't go through the whole program that you guys have, but infantry brigade for 10 years, I think it was. You were with the brigade for about 10 years in 3 of the 5 units here in Oregon. But it all started in the last century, 1992 is when he enlisted. And the combat engineers first started, I think you were his first sergeant in that first unit. Were you first in the 1249th on the coast there? Yeah. Later transitioned into the infantry, which I'm happy about, certainly being an infantry officer myself. And then decided to go to the dark side, right? Got your commission as an infantry officer, but then was called into chaplaincy, which is never went to officer basic course for the infantry, right? So a blessing in disguise at the time, for the rest of us, certainly. While you were a chaplain, you got to be the state chaplain, state support chaplain for 3 years almost, right? 2.5 some odd years. And then when we called upon you when I was a brigade commander to go to Qatar with Colonel Brenner and his team, you made that sacrifice then too, which was much appreciated. You're finishing up at Oregon Training Command, and I can say that just of what I've mentioned and what's in everybody's program out here, it's been quite a well-rounded and fulfilling career, for sure. I think some of you here know, but many may not. Chaplain served as my battalion chaplain for almost two full years, wasn't it? And he really taught me the importance of having a chaplain as a commander, why chaplains are part of the commander's special staff. And during this time, he helped me through personally a challenging time. And it really made me realize, okay, chaplains are important. If the commander needs chaplain, the unit definitely needs chaplains. And you know full well, too, Chaplain Scott. Joshua got to see the good, bad, and ugly of then Lieutenant Colonel Riley. However, he was always there with a kind word, words of encouragement, and wise counsel. And he did that throughout his entire career as a chaplain. Chaplain Van Vlack had been a team player all the way through your entire career, sacrificing time with family, friends, and your church body. And I know it's been challenging, but you've always been willing to step up and do what the team asks of you, and I'm grateful for that. Karen, I'm going to thank you for your sacrifices. I know it's hard in supporting a loved one as they go overseas, if they go off the drill weekend. Just as a spouse, it is difficult, and I want to thank you for your sacrifices all the way through this as well. All right, I'm going to end here. It's been an honor to serve with you, Joshua. It truly has. Your passion for serving and making the organization better has been obvious since I've known you, and in everything that you do and have done. You've impacted many, and you're going to be missed. But I look forward to what this next chapter of your life has for you and the family. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Chaplain Vlack has been awarded the Meritorious Service Medal. Attention orders. For 30 years of exceptional meritorious military service, Chaplain Joshua E. Van Vlack was instrumental to the operations of Oregon Training Command as the OTC chaplain. His selfless dedication to the OTC mission supported countless military members and their families, enhancing training and overall readiness of the Oregon Army National Guard. His unwavering dedication and professionalism while supporting the service members and their families will have a lasting impact. His outstanding performance of duty is in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflects great credit upon himself, Oregon Training Command, Oregon Army National Guard, and the United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the 30-year medal. Attention orders. The 30-year medal, permanent order number 054-007, dated 23 February 2022. Chaplain Van Vlack is awarded the 30-year Faithful Service Medal for service from 24 January 1992 to 23 January 2022. Chaplain Van Vlack has completed 30 years of honorable and satisfactory service as a member of the Armed Forces of the United States. By order of the Governor, signed, Michael E. Stencil, Major General, the Adjutant General.
You only get these if you're old.
May the audience please be seated. Chaplain Van Vlack is awarded the Presidential Certificate of Appreciation. It reads, I extend my personal gratitude and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication to our armed forces help protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contribute to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, Joseph Biden, Commander-in-Chief. Next presentation will be the Presidential Certificate of Appreciation from former President George W. Bush. It reads, Chaplain Joshua E. Van Vlack, Army National Guard. Dear Joshua, thank you for your service in the United States Armed Forces. I am proud to have served as your Commander-in-Chief, and I'm pleased to join your family, friends, and colleagues in recognizing your career and accomplishments. Throughout history, the dedicated men and women of our military have protected our citizens and preserved the ideals that make our country strong. Their courage and sacrifice have inspired countless people and have helped shape America's character. On behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you for your contribution to our security and to the cause of peace and freedom. Your service, patriotism, and selfless devotion have helped advance the universal hope of liberty at home and around the world. Lori and I send our best wishes for health and happiness in your years ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless America. Sincerely, George W. Bush, 43rd President of the United States. The next presentation will be the Governor's letter. It reads, on behalf of the state of Oregon, I'm pleased to extend greetings and recognition for your years of loyal and dedicated service to our country and the Oregon Army National Guard. Your conduct, performance, and allegiance to duty reflects the highest standards of the military. In your years of service, you have brought proficiency and expertise to challenging assignments and have been tremendous assets to the Guard. Your presence and skills will be missed by many. May you continue to find challenge and reward in the years ahead. Signed, Kate Brown, Governor. Next presentation is the Oregon Army National Guard Retirement Certificate. It reads, the Certificate of Retirement is presented Vlack, on this occasion of your retirement from the Army National Guard effective 30 November 2022. I wish to extend you my personal thanks and appreciation for your many years of dedicated service to the state of Oregon and your country. You take with you my best wishes and those of your fellow Guard members for happiness and success in the years that lie ahead. Signed, Michael E. Stencil, Major General, the Adjutant General. Would Karen and Mrs. Van Vlack please join Chaplain Van Vlack up front? Next presentation is the Spouse's Appreciation Certificate. It reads, "This is a certified that Mrs. Karen M. Van Vlack, on the occasion of the retirement of your spouse from the United States Army, has earned grateful appreciation for your own use, unselfish, faithful, and devoted service. Your unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible your spouse's lasting contribution to this nation." Signed, James C. McConville, General, United States Army, Chief of Staff. Next presentation is the U.S. flag and certificate by General Riley. The flag was flown over the United States Capitol in recognition of Chaplain Van Vlack's retirement. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the reading of the retirement orders. Attention orders. This is to certify that Joshua Van Vlack, Chaplain, United States Army, Army National Guard, having served faithfully and honorable, is retired from the Army National Guard, effective 30 November 2022 by order of the Governor. Signed, Michael E. Stencil, Major General, United States Air Force, the Adjutant General.
Yes.
The next presentation is from Chaplain Colonel Scott. The State Chaplain will be presenting a gift from the Chaplain Corps.
So the motto of the, we have everybody sitting.
Hey, gentlemen, please.
So the motto of the Chaplain Corps is for God and country, right? So we've got two things that I think symbolize that call to serve in the Chaplain Corps for God and country. Now this is just a facsimile of what we ordered for you. I'm not a logistician, and I can't explain why it wasn't ready quite on time. But when it is ready, I'll make sure to deliver that to you. So this is a representation of the chaplain field flag. So in the Chaplain Corps, we put this up. It's kind of the chaplain is in, right? And it lets soldiers and leaders know that the chaplain is present and available. Because so much of what we do is being available when we're needed. And the second thing is it's a copy of the Constitution, because that First Amendment, it's just one sentence and two clauses that the government will not force religion upon anyone, but will also allow us for the free practice of religion. And in the Chaplain Corps, that's what we live for, to give soldiers the right practice what they believe, or no belief at all, right? You've lived the call, brother. And personally, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you is you answered the call. When you were working as the full-time state support chaplain, as chaplains, right, we try to be available when our soldiers and leaders call, when they need somebody on the other end of the line, someone to talk to. And as chaplains, we rely on our brothers and sisters in the chaplain corps for that. And I know there were many times when you were the state support chaplain, I appreciated that you were on the other end of the call to help make sure things were in order. An incredibly gifted administrative chaplain, too. And just this week, I was looking at the religious support plan for the state's all hazards plan and for the Cascadia contingency plan and what used to be called Op Plan Smoky, how we support our state in times of disaster. And it hasn't been updated since you left the office. Right, so we got more work to do. But just a testament, right, that you have answered the call. And I know then as we served together in the 41st too, sometimes you probably wish you hadn't answered the phone. But yeah, brother, you answered the call, and I'm grateful to you and the faithful service that you've rendered to the men and women who serve here in Oregon. So thank you, and God bless you and your family. And if anyone is here from Canyon Bible Fellowship, I was a small town church pastor for a long time too, and I know what a sacrifice that is for a small church to give up their pastor to serve. And too, and having been a pastor, that's another thing I always appreciated about you is that you worked so diligently you recognize that your call was from God to serve as a man of God, and you worked diligently to do that and to live the call faithfully. So thank you, and God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the man of the hour, Chaplain Retired, Joshua Van Vlack.
First observation, chaplains are not usually on this end of ceremonies. Chaplain Scott, Chaplain Delbridge, Chaplain Barnes, you're well aware of that. If we're behind the mic at a ceremony like this, it's because we're hopefully not praying too long. We're at the beginning or at the end. We're very seldom the focus of the ceremony. I'll probably say Tamil fluid enough. There's an inside story with Chaplain Delbridge that I won't get into. General Redley, thank you so much. I really appreciate your willingness to host this ceremony. I'm incredibly humbled in the 12 years that I've been a chaplain, 12 years last month, as a matter of fact. I can honestly say I've never had a commander that I didn't enjoy working for. I don't know how many chaplains can say that, but in 12 years, I've never had a commander I didn't enjoy working for. So how do you rank the ones that you enjoy? For some reason, you were at the top of the list. And I appreciate your willingness to come and be able to, and be willing to host a ceremony like this. As I just said, I've enjoyed every commander I've worked for. Lieutenant Colonel Reese, Colonel Reese, there's so many of them in the state, yeah, specified by spelling. But at aviation, 2641, Colonel Lotham at 2641, USER, and like Colonel Karn at 20162. It was a pleasure for me to go back to my old battalion from my enlisted days and to be their chaplain. How many soldiers get the privilege of doing that?
It doesn't happen very often. And I had the privilege of serving as the chaplain for a battalion that had been a part of my life from my enlisted days. And then to go to 41st SGB, work for Colonel Pond. There, another Colonel Reese, I worked for two. How many worked for two Colonel Reeses in my career? Colonel Gibson, thank you, sir, for the privilege of letting me work for you. You were there. We had some interesting moments. And I still remember the conversation that we had in 2019. You said, hey, what's your level of interest in deploying? And I said, well, I'm candidating for a church. If I get it, I prefer staying. Didn't know that a month later, 2 months later, you'd be calling me up. And Colonel Brenner, I probably should blame you for that. But I appreciate the trust, Colonel Brenner, that you placed in me by asking me to be your chaplain. I know that you get a GO involved in the conversation, you just realize you're going to go. And you say, okay, yes, sir. I remember right out here listening to General Wilkinson's promotion ceremony when he got his 3rd star. And you said, when your commander gives you an order, you learn to say yes, sir, and step out smartly. Well, when the general says you're going on the deployment, you don't complain. You just learn you're going to go, and you go. And so, thank you, sir, for the trust you placed in me. My prayer is that I lived up to that trust in the time that we were deployed. That's a lofty standard to live up to, and my prayer is that I made it, that I lived up to that standard. Came back, and I know there was some interesting conversations about where I would land once I got home, and then land at OTC. Work briefly for Colonel Burkhart, and then Colonel Lambert. Again, thank you for the trust that you have placed in me as your chaplain. I know you came on board, I was already here, but I was your chaplain, I was a staff officer that worked for you. And thank you for the trust that all of my commanders placed in me. It's a lofty responsibility. Thank you very much. To my in-laws, Stan and Kathy. Thank you for the trust you placed in the son-in-law, who merely had the promise of serving God and country. And there was not much of a realization of that initially. And yet you put your trust in me with your daughter. Thank you for that. Thank you for the encouragement that both of you have given me over the years as a man of God and as a pastor, as a chaplain. I appreciate you two very much. To my siblings, thank you for your friendship. Becky, you challenged me in a lot of ways, but you've also enabled me to be a better counselor, I believe. And for that, I thank God for you. Aaron, I know we intended 30 years ago to join the National Guard together, but God had other plans. And so over the years, you've enjoyed watching my career. And in a way, you kind of lived a career you never got a chance to through me. Thank you for your encouragement and for your friendship as well. Sarah, thank you for your service in the Army. I know there's a verse of Proverbs that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens the countenance of another. And sometimes we did see a few sparks fly. But God has his purposes in all of the relationships that we have been given. And he's used that to refine me, as I pray that he's using it to refine you. Dad? To follow in your shoes and even to walk farther than you did has been a greater honor than I could possibly have expected to have when I first joined the National Guard so many years ago. It was about 30 years. Thank you for your service and for the privilege of serving alongside of you for more than a decade. I wish you could have had the retirement ceremony that I'm enjoying right now and to receive the honors that I'm receiving, honors that you had earned for a man who started out your career in one war and ended your career in another. My prayer is that my service was as honorable as yours. Mom, you've seen all the ups and downs that come with being a military spouse. You've endured a husband going off to war and the challenges that come with him returning not unchanged. You've been one of my biggest cheerleaders from early on. You and Dad have seen a son enter the National Guard as a scrawny 17-year-old private and now retire as a not-so-scrawny 40-year-old major. Thank you, too, for all your advice, encouragement, and most of all for your prayers. I have become what I am in a large part because of the two of you. Karen, what a privilege it is to have you as my wife. I'm not really sure if you knew what you were getting into when you married me. When God gave you to me, he blessed me beyond measure. Proverbs says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. And you truly have been my good thing. You've been alongside me, supporting me in more than a dozen marriage retreats that we've done, keeping the home together. Those times I had to be away, some longer than others. Thank you for your frequent reminders that I have to be nice sometimes. I love you. And I appreciate you more than words can tell. So, part of the tradition is that they give out some flowers, and we can do that right now. To my fellow chaplains and chaplain assistants, I know you're called religious affairs specialists, but I'm going to use a retiree privilege of chaplain assistants for this ceremony. Thank you for all that you have done, all that you are doing. Chaplain Delbridge, thank you for your mentorship mentorship over the years. You've seen me as a young specialist 11 Bravo at field services out of Camp Riley. You've seen me become a young chaplain and hopefully grow into a mature chaplain. Thank you for your friendship, your mentorship, your guidance over the years. I appreciate you very much, sir. Chaplain Barnes, you and I started this path as chaplains together. We were candidates together. It seems forever ago, a dozen years passes by rather quickly. And now you've outdistanced me in rank. But I appreciate your friendship and your encouragement as well. Over the years, it's been a privilege to serve alongside you and to know that God is still going to be doing some good things with you, with 41st and wherever God takes you going forward. Chaplain Scott, thank you. I know that God has blessed you with a tremendous heart for our country, a tremendous heart for our soldiers, and He has gifted you in ways that are going to continue to bless our organization with a staff skill that is just phenomenal to behold. I know that when God brought you to our state, He blessed us very much. Thank you for the trust that you have given me, for your encouraging words to me, for the mentorship and the staff piece of it that has helped round me out as the chaplain that I pray I've become. To the chaplain assistants, thank you for all that you've done to make me a better chaplain. We're part of a unit ministry team. We're not part of a chaplain with a tag-along. We're a unit ministry team. Sergeant Lyman, thank you for reminding me of that at times when I really needed to hear that. I know that you're a short-timer as well, but thank you for all that you've done, and to a large extent as a chaplain who has developed a care for chaplain assistants. You played a large part in that. Thank you very much. I know that none of the chaplain assistants that served with me are here, but I have the privilege of serving with some that I was really blessed with. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity to serve as a member of the unit ministry team. And I pray that I was a good mentor to those chaplain assistants. It was an honor to serve with all of you. I've participated in numerous ceremonies like this, but never in this capacity. I've heard countless remarks that were given that were appropriate to the setting, retired soldiers reflecting on decades of faithful service. And inevitably, they talk about leadership lessons that they have learned over the years. Colonel Gibson, I remember you distinguishing between lessons identified and lessons learned. So now I steal that line as often as I can. So thank you for that. But I want to identify one of the lessons that I pray that I've learned in my career, maybe a lesson that might be a bit surprising. One of the things that the military is best known for is training leaders, of teaching leadership at all levels. I received my first real lesson in leadership as a young corporal in Kuwait in 2000, and then attended officer candidate school and learned some great leadership lessons under the mentorship of Major Matthew Castile. In becoming an officer, there is an aspect of leadership that necessarily comes with rank. However, the most enduring lesson I've learned in the last 30 years with the Oregon Army National Guard was not how to become a good leader. As my fellow chaplains can attest, a chaplain will never hold command authority. We're unique in the Army in this way. We never hold command authority. We are always executing the mission of the commander the commander of the unit to which we are assigned. This is equally true of the newest battalion chaplain and the chief of chaplains for the United States Army. We are never in command. We are always under command. The book of Hebrews contains this following verse. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they keep watch over your souls as those who will give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with grief, for this would be unprofitable for you. Well, this verse is speaking specifically of the role of spiritual leaders in the context of the church. I believe the principle it teaches applies equally to any organization, even the military. Within any organization, there exists a necessary symbiotic relationship between the leader and the follower. Whole libraries of books have been written about the role of the leader. But precious few have been written about the role of the follower. The leader serves a vital function within any organization, looking out for those whom they lead. And for that, the leader will be held accountable. Being a leader is seldom easy, and those who do it well are to be commended. Followers, however, have an equally vital function within any organization, one that we rarely focus on. The verse I read says that followers are to obey and submit to their leaders, but this isn't blind obedience. I remember learning this in basic training in 1992 when soldiers were told that they have the responsibility to disobey any unlawful order. However, the second general order states, I will obey my special orders and perform all my duties in a military manner. Honorable obedience is a vital component of followership. Submission is as well. Submission is not a word that we often like to hear in our culture. I define submission this way: willingly placing yourself under the authority of another in such a way that you lighten their load and you make it a joy for them to lead you. As a follower, it is my responsibility to focus on the well-being of those that lead me. I am to make their leading me a joy and not a burden. When they see me coming, I don't want them to sigh because their day has gotten worse. Rather, I want them to sigh because their day has gotten better. In my 30 years in the military, I pray that I demonstrated the qualities of a good follower more than I have failed to demonstrate them. I pray that I have lightened more burdens of those who have led me than I have increased them. As soldiers, you have the unique opportunity to create an environment where good leadership can develop by how you conduct yourself as followers. I pray that if I have done anything as a soldier, I have honored God and my country by exemplifying the qualities of a good follower. I will be forever grateful for the opportunity that God has given me to serve my state and my country in a way that I could not have anticipated when this journey began 3 decades ago. But it has been a good ride. And one that I have never regretted. Like many soldiers coming up on retirement, I've been asked by people what I'm going to do once I've retired from the Guard. So I'm going to end with this. It's a paraphrase from General MacArthur. It's actually something I stole from a friend of mine who commented on my retirement ceremony on Facebook. He said, "This old chaplains never die. They just go out to pasture." Rodeo it, I forget.
Chaplain Retired Ben Vlack, congratulations on an outstanding career and the best to you in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, please continue to stay standing for the benediction by Chaplain Retired Scott Delbridge and the playing of the chaplain's song and the departure of the official party.
Wow, it's been a while since you all look the same. He was a young infantry soldier when I was his chaplain, 2162, all the way back. So I don't have time. Preachers are yak all the day. So let me just say a word of prayer for you, my family. Almighty God, creator and sustainer of all, we give you thanks for the way that you have called and continue to call young men and women into the service of our country. And today we get to thank you for calling Josh and the way that you have guided his life and career from 11 Bravo to 56 Alpha. May he and his family look back on these years with fondness and pride. We know you have new challenges in ministry ahead for him. Grant him and Karen peace and direction. And as we say goodbye to this soldier, we ask that you will continue to call more young people to serve. And for those serving now, we ask that you would grant strength and unity and perseverance. God bless our TAG, our governor, our president, all who are called to lead. God bless Josh and Karen, the great state of Oregon. And may it always be spoken in this great nation, God bless America. Amen.
We never sing this.
God, we serve him faithfully and march in his name through thunder and flame wherever God may be. Trusting in God, his strength we lean upon. As into the fight, the legions of light, the swords of God march on. Chaplains of the nation, everywhere with a fighting congregation, salute and salute onward we go, till victory is won. For justice and right, the legions of light, the sons of God march on.
We'll practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today and attending the ceremony. This concludes our presentation. Please join General Riley in congratulating Chaplain Retired Ben Vlack and his wife Karen. The receiving line begins in the back, just outside the auditorium. You are invited to stay and enjoy refreshments in the break room downstairs. Thank you.